Afternoon or good evening, depending where you are. Thank you very much for joining us to the 15th country level presentation as part of the satellite events of the Global Shelter Cluster meeting that took place earlier this year between May and June. So welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to have a presentation from Chad, following the one from Cameroon last week. And Pierre Claver, who is the country cluster coordinator for this merged CCCM shelter cluster in Chad, will be presented today before taking a question and answers from participants. And just to say, before we go ahead with Pierre Claver, that next week we will have the last of the country presentations from Central African Republic. So Pierre Claver, maybe just handing over to you, introducing yourself, and just please, if you can get on with the presentation. Just to say, everybody, that the presentation is being recorded and it will be published in the website.
Okay, thank you, Angel. Thank you for everybody to attend this presentation from Chad. I am Pierre Claver Nyandwi, and I am a cluster CCCM shelter coordinator in Chad at country level. As you may see on the first slide, you will see that it is a merged cluster, but all documents are separated normally. When we produce documents, we separate those clusters. So thank you for this opportunity given to me. Next slide. Okay. In Chad, normally we have the situation, which is very complicated because it's a mixed situation. We have on that slide site locations and key figures. Since 2018 up to now, the number of IDPs has been increased because of many kind of situation. You see on this slide, you will see that from 2018 up to 2019, we have an increase of plus 34%, and from the 19 to 20, you will see that we have 99%. It's like we double the population displaced. And from the 20 to 21, there is an increase of 19%. So you can see that it continued to increase because of insecurity, because of flood, because everything you will see in the next slide. And this map is showing where those sites are located. It is near it's on the border near the Nigeria and Niger at Chad Lake province. Next slide. As I said, we have the conflict, and we have a disaster, and we have other also kind of situation that we're going to see, like migrants and migration. You will see first conflict, and we have in Chad this conflict remained until you see it started in 2014. Now it is 8 years with insecurity in Lake Chad province, and the causes are non-government armed group that continue to attack, kill, and burn civilian villages. We have also, as consequences of those attacks, the population that you see, it is about 401 million, 551 IDPs located in 220 sites and in host community. This is the information coming from BTM 14 round. Another cause is the displacement due to the sporadic intercommunity conflict in the east of Chad. And we have also the refugee and the asylum seekers. Next. So the second cause is disaster. When we say disaster, is floods that we observe in Chad that causes the displacement. So in Lake Chad province, we have the rising water level of Lake Chad that increase after the rain season, and those push also the people to flee. And the second one is in other provinces like Tangile, Moyen Chari, Mandoul, Logon Oriental, where we registered 250,044 displaced persons. And it was in this summer. Next. Other movement that I said before is the migrants, and where we see the Chadian returning from Libya, and we have also the transmens. There is normally a displacement of people for searching the grazing for domestic animals. And those people also provoke some kind of insecurity fighting where they are going. Next. Next slide. Okay. This, sorry, return to the first one. Okay. We see an operation response overview. We have normally high shelter needs for those people displaced in camp-like sites and among the communities. Also, we observe the mixed movement, as I said, IDP, refugee, migrant, and asylum seekers. And the cluster is in charge of IDPs, not refugees, not migrants or asylum seekers. So this, some are the responsible for some agencies, UN agencies are responsible for those refugees is UNHCR, migrants IOM, and asylum seekers UNHCR as well. We have also the CCCM Shelter and NFI cluster, which is responsible for, as I said, for IDP. And the other problem is the prohibition to cut the trees by local authorities. This is it is pushing us to see how we can change the situation to work as people are not able to cut tree for the wood, firewood. And we have a few NGOs to intervene in shelter construction, while many are focusing on NFI distribution. And we have also most of international NGOs that are in the consortium funded by ECO through RRM is a rapid response mechanism, and then they are focused their attention on NFI distribution. Next slide. Okay. This is the organigram that we have in Chad. As I said, you can see it's the chart for coordination. We have normally at country level a coordinator, which is full working for the two clusters, and we have also the government represented by Sena, which is called lead, and we have the SAG that take decisions proposed by the clusters, and we have also the technical working group in Jamena, and at Lake Province we have merged also CCCM and Shelter subcluster. But for that we have also the personnel who are double heading because we don't have a dedicated staff. And we have an NGO, local NGO, which is facilitating the cluster. And we have also the support from IMO normally at subcluster level and at country level cluster. And we have also inside the cluster, we have a working group which is working on movement, on population movement. As a foundation, we have all members of Shelter, NFI cluster, and the CCCM cluster members and partners. Next slide. So this the list. This is the list of people of UN agencies, NGO, government, and donor representative that are operating in Chad. It is mixed. It's a mixed situation because the same organization are working for CCCM. Next. We have at the charter, at the strategy that we, this strategy that I am showing is for 2021. It's the current situation, current strategy that we're working on. So what we put in place as a strategy is to support the newly displaced IDP with the emergency shelter, of course, with also the NFI distribution, and we constructed the emergency shelter that we transform, that can be transformed in transitional shelter or permanent shelter. We have also to support. We intend to support the protected IDPs, those who are in the site of over 2 years and who don't have intention to return to the area of origin with the permanent shelter. So this is a kind of humanitarian development nexus. And we are working with sometimes with in contact with the UNDP, but this on the ground, really on the ground, we don't see those because we don't see those development actors while they have in lecture at the province normally a plan that we call security and development plan for Lake Chad province. So, and another we have, we provide shelter technical trainings to displaced community to reinforce the capacity and the resilience. This is like a cash for livelihood. And we have also the strategy, joint strategy with the food security cluster for where we do the distribution jointly with the food security and the NFI distribution. Next. We use also cash. Some NGOs use the cash, so they do the cash transfer where it is possible, and we have also the protection mainstreaming to assist, for example, the shelter assistance, shelter for people who has the specific needs. And we beneficial consultation on shelter needs. Also, we have to plant, as we saw before. We have we included the plant the activity to plant the trees to replace those cuts and promote the respect of environment. Next. This slide is showing normally the level of funding up to now. You see, it is not sufficient. It's just 6.5 million that we have already funded. You see the gap that we have. The gap is 15 million US dollars that we don't have until now, which is normally 70%. And the people that you see that we reached until now is for NFI. You see that I'm not going to repeat those figures, but we have also those emergency shelter, and it is this black figure, 11,000, about 12,000 that have reached by in the emergency shelter intervention. And we have also transition shelter or permanent shelter. That I can highlight that because it is not a lot. It is one. Until this year, it was only done by one organization, which is IOM. Next. This picture is capacity building. This slide is showing the training that recently we managed to organize in Bagasola in full collaboration with the subcluster. This is the picture. You can see the title, even it is in French. I think some can read on that. Can read that. The next slide. So in July, we had a workshop on validation of shelter models and site consolidation. From 22 to 23 September this year, we organized a training workshop which happened in Bagasura as well, on shelter construction and site coordination management with the support of national cluster. It was organized by sub-cluster. And the way forward for this, because all these trainings and the documents that they produced at a sub-cluster level, we have to organize a meeting, a SAG meeting, to validate those revised design of emergency and transitional permanent shelter that you will see below in the next slide. Next. This is normally the design or the design of each shelter. You can see the dimension, the measures that we are using normally is normally 5 meters to 3.5 meters for emergency shelter. Next slide. This is the perspective shelter. You can see how it is. Next slide. This is the model that that is already implemented, not in the site and in the IDP site, but in the refugee site, which is in Lake Chad province. We didn't find maybe there are pictures, but there was not available for this because it was not on my. It is not available to put them on the slide. Next. So for permanent shelter layout, you can see recently we changed the strategy. We changed the design because people need to have, I can say, a balcony, this space in front of house that can be used for cooking and other work in the house, because there is a lot of there is a I can say a heat. There is Lake Chad province is very hot, and it is very difficult to cook inside. That's why we, according to the request from the assessment that we did with the community, we chose to add that balcony in front of this house. In front of the house. This is the permanent shelter that we intend to construct in next year and also this year after the agreement, after the validation of a SAG. Next. So this is the front, and this is back of the house. And you see also the side view, left side view, and also the right side view. Next. This is the dimensions, the measures for the design. You have 5.3 centimeters, meters, and we have also 3.65 meters. And so you can see that we have this balcony that we added in the front of, and we have this design. You have also the 1 bedroom and the living room. Next. This is a picture that we took in one site, Kafia site, that was before the revised, was constructed before the revised strategy. Next. Okay. This is the slide which is talking about the process HPC22 process, and we have the schedule. Of course, some data, some activities has already done. It is now we are. Yesterday we did the risk analysis and the projection. So this is the process that is organized, of course, with by OCHA, and we have normally a working group for analysis to analyze all documents that we produce related to the HPC, and we are not in the phase of working on the HNO, and we within the cluster we are working on the sector analysis, need analysis. So you see on 30 August there was a validation of TOR for strategic analysis for working group, and the HPC 2022 workshops. And then in September, from 8 to 15, there was a workshop to analyze the context and evaluate the needs. And this happened within provinces, in the south, in the Lake Chad, and east, and yes, in north. And from 21 to 29 September, we had an adoption of way forward and presenting of workshop results. And on 5th October, there was a risk, it was yesterday, risk analysis and a projection. And next Tuesday, on 12th of October, we will have the presentation and validation of sectoral needs analysis by ICCG and preparation of the HNO 2022 validation workshop. And 19th of October, we will have the presentation of PIN calculation strategy and the strategy framework 2017 to 2023 and the priority response approaches. And from 20 to 21 October, we will have HNO validation workshop at country level. This normally involves local authority at a high level in N'Djamena. And then normally all local authorities at province level, they are invited and participate in that workshop. 9 of November, we will present the food security joint strategy integrated strategy, food security, and NFI, Shelter NFI strategy analysis. And we will have on 16 November, we will have the presentation of PIN and calculation method. And for 23 November, we will have a presentation of Shelter and the CCCM sectoral strategy. And September, we will have the presentation of conclusion on project submitted and key figures planning. So this the workshop to validate and launch HRP 2022. The date is not yet determined. So next slide. This slide is showing a summary of challenges that we have in the Chad. We have the issue of limited funds to implement the agreed shelter cluster strategy. So it is a problem, because if we agreed for a strategy, normally we should implement that strategy. But because of limited funds, it is very difficult to implement all strategy that component of strategy that we agreed on. The second challenge, we have limited number of partners involved in shelter construction, while normally we have 90% of IDP who are not intended to return to the area of origin. And so we have a high needs to support those permanent shelter. The third challenge is limited localization. We have national and or local NGOs that only receive funds from UN. That we have the UN, they are coming from UN and international or NGO, while they need to have a direct funding from donors. Until now, most of NGO don't have this capacity to have the funds from donors. So it is we have always complaints from those NGOs, and we understood that, but it is not. It's very difficult to have a solution for that. The fourth challenge is the no dedicated staff to support efficiently the shelter cluster. It is the same thing like for CCCM. We have a double hatting personnel. So the fifth, we have also the issue insufficient. Normally, UNHCR as a cluster lead should have to play the role of last resort provider. But now we don't have this. Also, we have insufficient funding from UNHCR to do that to play that role. The last challenge that we have is that we have sometimes, many times, we have the cluster staff rotation and interruption of contract. As I said that, even me, I just arrived because I spent 5 months out of Chad. So this is a problem that impacts on the continuation of the work. So next slide. Next slide. So This is the final slide for presentation. You can ask the question about the presentation or question for clarification, or if someone wants to add as well. If it's, I know that there are some maybe who are attending from chat. If there is something that they want to add, they can add. But this is the summary of our presentation, the update from chat. Thank you very much. Up to you, Angel.
Thank you very much, Pierre Claver. I think more than for me, it's for the participants to be able to have any questions. So if anybody has any questions, please just raise your hand or even unmute yourself and ask directly to Pierre Claver. So anybody wants to ask the first question? No? Well, if there's no questions to ask, I don't know if Pierre Claver, there's anything else that you would like to add or to comment?
What maybe I can add is last time we had a meeting with the local authorities in Lake Chad province to see how we can consolidate the sites, because we have to involve them to see what they think about, because we have many sites, IDP sites spread. They are small, they are big one, and it is very difficult to manage to have to support all those sites, IDP sites, to have to have assistance. So they agreed. We agreed to have this, but to this kind of activity, this consolidation, and they accepted to support us in that way, because there is a need. There are some sites that don't reach because of insecurity as well. So this is what I can say as an addition, and we hope that in the future time we are going to elaborate a document that we will be supported we'll share with the local authorities and what we call prefect and the governor in the Lake Chad province to have this to implement that consolidation. That's what I would like to add. Thank you. Sadia. I see Sadia.
Thank you, Pierre Claver, and really thank you for this presentation. Actually, I was the cluster coordinator in 2016 in Chad, so I recognized many of your challenges, and really kudos to the team to deal with them, because it's a very difficult situation. I was just wondering, when I was there, it was the response to the Boko Haram situation cross-border, and also then we had internally displaced persons around the lake. But I remember that we had this issue of, every year and over this last few years, the Lake Chad is shrinking, and it's such an ecosystem around it, and people's livelihood depend on that lake and the whole environment around it. Is there somewhere where the cluster, in their strategy or together with other actors, maybe perhaps more development actors, is thinking about these kind of changing environment, and then you have the kind of added sort of population of the displaced that may be from the region, but they are not concentrated in certain areas. So yeah, I would like to hear about that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sadia. Yes, of course, as you know, we have the displacement is continuing because of insecurity. The insecurity is not it didn't stop in Lake Chad province, and in our strategy we thought to put in place maybe construction activities that can provide money, provide cash to people, and the people can use that the money that they receive for developing livelihood activities. It is you saw in my presentation that we said also for cash. We said cash, but we work together also with the other clusters to see how they can also support. It is not because we're not alone. Those issues are for all clusters. So I think what I can say, we work together within inter-cluster working group to see how we can improve that the conditions of those IDPs, because we still have this issue of regular emergency, people who are moving, and is very difficult also to stabilize those people, because in that area is also difficult to identify who is moving because of insecurity, or who is moving from another site to see that he can get also an assistance. So it is very difficult, I agree. So I think we try our best, but with the support with the RRM and the DTM, we try to track those movements, but I agree that it is very difficult. Thank you.
Pierre Claver, I think you have questions from Kelly from Takuya, so let's do Kelly first.
Yes.
Sorry, it took me a minute to find my microphone. I was wondering, in terms of the process of your design of the buildings and the review process, whether you've done anything that's incorporated environmental considerations into that process. Thanks.
No, I didn't hear your question. Could you repeat your question, please?
Sorry, I was speaking too fast. My question is whether you have incorporated environmental considerations into the review of your housing designs.
Yes, the consideration that we took is from the community. The community, when we designed this review, we designed this house, kind of house. It was because of the questions or the observation that the comment that the community gave. That's why we changed this, and we hope that we will have funds to implement those shelter. I don't know if I responded to your question.
Maybe it'd be easiest. I'll send you an email separately just to follow up on a couple of points.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Oh no. Takuya?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I tried to manage the. Yeah. Mine is actually rather comments. Thank you so much for your presentation, and also the strong leadership for the coordination. So I just because myself, I work for IOM at the headquarters and the shelter team, and then since I work closer with our team, but also, the chat Shelter has a Shelter project. Lots of the achievement has made. So I thought that today's presentation can be with your initials, the cluster lead side of the strategy, and then those entire idea. And then if we could have more good sample of shelters, how the actual situation that if added, then it would be much a great showcase for the particularly people who hasn't really familiar with the shelter activities. So, but I just wanted to make that comment. But thank you so much, and then also appreciated the working in the hard environment area. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it is a comment. It is not a question. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a comment.
Okay, Pierre Claver, I don't know if you have anything else to add or if anybody has any more questions.
Maybe it is what I can ask to the shelter cluster to advocate for us to have enough staff to work with the cluster. So it will be helpful because when you are double hatting the activities, it's not easy. So if you can advocate for maybe to have a fund to support those that kind of.
Yeah, just to confirm, Pierre Claver, that this, of course, is ongoing not only for Chad, but for all other countries, and that there was recently what we call a tri-cluster strategic meeting to discuss any gaps or additional resources were needed. And I think the meeting went positive. Let's just wait and see what the consequences are. But I hope good news will be coming up in the coming weeks or months. In the meantime, I see that there is another question from Thomas Griffiths in the chat that says, thanks for the talk, can't speak right now, so we'll ask here. You mentioned earlier that part of the strategy is converting e-shelters into transitional shelters. What changes to the shelters does this involve?
Okay. Thank you for this question. Yes, I see what he was written. Yes, the changes that involved is normally you see when you have a roof, you have the wall in a material that we call kai. It is like a grass. It is like a grass that we use in Lake Chad province coming from the lake, and it is not strong. When when they have this roof in sheets, iron sheet, they can also it is like it is a transitional, so they can change with the in future they can change the wall using the bricks or using the blocks, cement blocks, and can become a normally permanent shelter. That's of course it's very difficult for the community to do that, but if we mobilize them, they can also support in that that work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pierre Claver. So any other questions? If there are no any other questions, then thank you very much, Pierre Claver, for the comprehensive presentation. I mean, I assume Pierre Claver is also available anytime if you reach out to you for any other questions regarding the cluster in Chad. And just to remind everybody that the next week we will have the last country update from Central African Republic, same time, same day next week. And for those who are part of cluster coordination teams, know that in the coming hours, you will receive an email with the invite for the coordinators workshop. So just to save the date on this, and we look forward to your participation. Until then, thank you very much again, Pierre Claver, and see you all next week. Please join for the card presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pierre Claver.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.